learners, welcome to Education online program. I'm teacher Regina Massimo, teaching you biology for Senior 3 and Senior 4. Our topic, the main topic, is food processing along digestive tract in humans. In the previous lesson, we look at how the food is treated, because the food we take, the nutrient cannot be accessed by cell immediately like that, and unless it undergoes certain processes. So the processes, or the food treatment, undergo many processes. It is started by ingestion, then mastication, coming to digestion. And in our previous lesson, we look at how the food is digested, starting from the ingestion, chewing, which is mastication, up to the digestion in the small intestine, specifically in the ileum. So we came to learn that in the ileum there were some enzymes, or in a small intestine there were some enzymes, maltase, saccharase, peptidase, the last one is lipase. Maltase convert maltose into glucose. This one convert maltose into glucose. Saccharase changes sucrose into glucose. Then peptidates convert the peptides into amino acids. Lipase, it breaks lipids. These are oil or fats into fatty acids. So when we look at these final products of digestions, these are the smallest particle of the food that the cell can absorb it, or these are the smallest particle of the food that can diffuse into blood vessels. They can diffuse now. So up to here, that means the digestion was done. What is remaining now? Absorption. What is remaining here? These nutrients are to be absorbed by the cell. So our subtopic is absorption of the nutrient in the animal. This is one of the processes of food treatment. Absorption in humans. Absorption is the process by which the simple soluble nutrients can diffuses into blood vessels. This is the process by which simple soluble foodstuff here or food substance diffuse into blood vessels. And most of the absorptions take place in small intestine. Most absorption of final product of digestion occur in the small intestine. Therefore, small intestine adapted to this function. What are these adaptations? To suit this function of absorption. Number one, it is highly coiled or folded to increase the large or to give large surface area for absorption. To give large area for absorption. So, like this one here, it is highly coiled or folded to provide a large area for absorption. Another adaptation is still it is highly coiled. It is highly coiled to slow down the movement of food. Thus allowing more time for digestion and absorption. It is highly coiled or folded to give enough time for or to slow down the movement of the food. That means giving more time. For digestion and absorption. Another adaptation of the small intestine, apart from these two mentions, they have high number or villi or microvilli in the inner surface to increase the surface area for absorptions. In the inner surface, they have many villi or microvilli. This just to increase area surface for absorption. Presence of thin layer of cell through which digested food diffuse. The layer of the small intestine is very thin to facilitate the diffusion of the digested food. The layer are thin. That one to facilitate the diffusion of the food or the nutrients into the cells, and also presence of dense network of blood capillaries. Presence of dense network of dense network of the blood capillaries. Of the blood capillaries. That means since the small intestines is where most of the absorptions take place, it adapted itself to suit or to carry the functions. So you'll find that it is well equipped with the network of blood capillaries, so that the food to diffuse into the blood vessels. So these are the adaptations of the small intestine. It is coiled, folded to increase surface area for absorptions. At the same time, being folded or coiled, it slows down the movement of food. That means allowing more time for digestion and absorptions. And it is well equipped with villi or microvilli that to increase the area of absorption, plus the network of blood capillaries. So then from there, some of the foods, they are undigested or indigestible. So where are they put? Undigested and indigestible. Undigested food and indigestible. Undigested, that means cannot be digested. Undigested, that means not digested. While in digestible, cannot be digested. So these are become the waste materials. Undigested food reach to the large intestine by the process called peristalsis. That means from the small intestine, now it is sent into the large intestine as a waste product or waste material. In the large intestine, what will happen there? Absorption of water. Absorption of water from undigested food. Then the remaining semi-solid waste material, the remaining after the water is absorbed, the semi-solid solid material will be kept in this part of large intestine, which is rectum, will be kept in the rectum for elimination from the body. This semi-solid material sent to the large intestine, then they move this way, then at the end reaches to the rectum. This is where it will be stored as feces until the time for it to come out of the body. So it is then sent out of the body by the aid of mucus through anus. It is sent out of the body with the help of mucus through anus. Up to here, the absorptions has taken place. All the nutrients are absorbed and they are in the blood. Now we want to see how are they utilized. After absorptions, these nutrients, glucose, amino acid, and fatty acid. These are all the nutrients. This one here, this is sugar. This one will form protein. And this one will form what? Lipids. So these nutrients are all absorbed. They are now in the blood stream. Now we want to see how are they utilized. That will be under the treatment or the process called assimilation. Assimilation. Assimilation is the process by which simple soluble food substances are absorbed into a cell. And converted to cell and converted to cell protoplasm. This is the definition for the assimilation. In this process, we want to see these nutrients are now absorbed into the blood. How are they being utilized? This amino acid, glucose, and fatty acid, for the body to absorb it, it needs to be dissolved in water. And they're soluble in water. That's why in these definitions is a process by which simple soluble food substances are absorbed into a cell and converted to cell protoplasm. What do we mean by cell protoplasm? When we look at the structures of the The structures are mainly divided into cytoplasm and protoplasm. The cytoplasm is that fluid where we find all the organelles are swimming. Then the rest of the organelles, the group of that organelles known as cell protoplasm. You'll find there the DNA, you'll find protein, you'll find lipids, carbohydrates, and these are all nutrients, but some of them, they are units of cell structures, like lipid and proteins. They make up the cell membrane. Cell membrane is lipoprotein. That means it is made up of lipid and protein. These nutrients, they carry out essential biological process within the cell. So in this case, under the assimilation, the different food types are utilized in these ways. These different food types are utilized in these ways. The different food types are utilized in the following ways. Glucose. The glucose in the blood, the one diffused or absorbed in the bloodstream. In the blood there, what will take place is oxidation of the glucose. That means adding oxygen to the glucose to release the chemical energy which is stored in this organic compound. That energy, the body will make use of it in carrying different biological processes. What will happen is oxidation. Addition of oxygen. This CH3 O6 plus oxygen will give us carbon dioxide plus water plus energy. So this is how the energy is released out. This is how energy is released out. When the energy released out, this energy is used to carry out the biological activities that helps in the movement, helps in cellular processes, helps in reproduction, in all this growth and development. Then after the body has taken enough from this nutrient, the excess of glucose will be converted into fats and glycogen. The excess will be converted into fats or glycogen. If it is converted into this one fats, it is kept under or the skin, underneath the skin. While this glycogen is stored in the liver. Glucose is oxidized to release the energy. The excess of the glucose will be converted into fat, then is stored under the skin. The one converted to glycogen will be stored in the liver. Fatty acid, they also oxidize to release energy. Fatty acid, these lipids, like this oil and fat. The fatty acid here is also oxidized to release energy. Then the excess of this is stored in the body as a fat under the skin. And its function is to insulate the body against cold. The fatty acid, when it is oxidized, it releases energy. The excess of it will be stored as fat under the skin. It will be stored under the skin. It is there to insulate the body against the cold. Against the cold. We are left with amino acid. Amino acid is the smallest unit of proteins. So it is used to manufacture proteins. The body uses it to manufacture protein. This protein now used for growth, used for tissue repair, But in case, if the body having less glucose, or the blood has no glucose, has no fatty acid to produce energy, then proteins also will be used, oxidized, to release energy so that the body can carry some biological activities. Then, in conclusion, I want to say this. Let us conclude our lesson by saying that the sugars in the animal cells are stored as glycogen. Sugars in animal cells, they are stored as glycogen, while the lipids in the animal cells, they are stored as fat. Thank you for watching. Up to here we are done with our lesson of today. We meet next time.